Good on you.
Just went right off the That's right. I need a realignment. I love it.
All right, my dear. Do you want to start? Wait, like 7 to 5.
Lay there in kinder.
I know. All right, let me turn this on. All right. Guys, welcome everybody. Good evening. How are you? Great. You guys doing well? Oh, it makes me so happy to see all these beautiful smiling faces. Is that on?
Is it on?
Check, check.
Yeah,
There
it's on.
And to our YouTube viewers, I think I just looked there, right, Jonathan?
Anywhere you want.
Awesome. You guys, thank you so much. Those of you joining us online, and then those of you here in person. It brings Allie and I much gratitude and so much joy to be able to share what it is we've been working really hard on. So, before we start, I'm Diana.
I am Alina Ortega.
And we're going to talk to you about today what is EverGrow Academy, how this incredible homeschool enrichment program can hopefully meet your needs in what you're looking for towards education with your kids. But before we do that, I want to say thank you so much to a gentleman who's in the back. So YouTube, you're not going to be able to see him, but his name's Jonathan Serrano. So if you guys here can just wave. Jonathan, you guys, is the head elder of this beautiful congregation that has opened up their doors for us to host and have EverGrow Academy live here. This is our EverGrow Academy home. Him and his beautiful congregation has said, yes, come do an academy here. And also, Jonathan is a former educator. He has taught social studies in the high schools locally, so he is so in alignment with what we want to do. So it brings us a lot of joy as well to know we have a fellow educator and just someone so ready to open their doors to host an academy here. And one quick thing on a quick history lesson that I've just been learning full circle. We have today Carol Lou Harding, right, who is the granddaughter of Mr. Harding, who years ago in the 1940s started a military academy, the Harding Military Academy, here on this campus. And it went from 1940s to 1970s, right? And she used to live here and then now lives right across the street here, next door neighbor. And guys, this military academy was from kindergarten through 8th grade. Just like what we're doing, full circle, like not 100 years later yet, but almost 80 years later, right? So it's just super cool to be able to use this space to serve our community in this way. All right, Jonathan, let's move on to that next slide. Okay, Allie, why don't you go ahead and tell us what our mission is here?
Okay, so first, kind of before we get started, if you are on YouTube, you guys can comment in the section if you have any questions. We're going to tackle those guys at the very end, but you can make them known, and we're going to go through them as we see fit. So to get into our mission, it's to empower the students with an ever-growing desire to seek our wisdom, to grow their compassion, build their character, and to just kind of create and develop these lifelong learning abilities in these kids.
And so the whole presentation today, you guys, is going to teach you how we're going to go about doing that mission statement in creating lifelong learners, creative and confident learners. But before we do that, a little bit about us. Who are these ladies standing in front of you guys? So like we said our names, my name's Diana Rudolph, and I've been an educator, for about 20 years. I went to Pacific University, just right down the road here, and I got my degrees in education. I got my credential, started teaching kindergarten, and then second grade, and then junior high, and then full circle, door open for me to go back to APU and teach undergraduate students, which I did as a full-time professor for about 10 years. And then something I didn't see coming, in 2017, I started homeschooling my own kids. So I have 3 kids of my own, a 10-year-old boy, 7-year-old boy, and a 3-year-old little girl. And for about 3-4 years now, I've been in the homeschool world and using my former education in the public and private school setting. Now bringing it home has been a whirlwind of incredible adventure for me in just opening my eyes to the homeschool community. And in the last 2 years of the craziness that we have lived through, I have met so many incredible parents very hungry for learning how to homeschool, which is honestly one of the reasons why we are here in front of you today. So that's a little bit about my personal background.
So I am the assistant director of EverGrow Academy. I went to school in Laverne, graduated there with my degree in child development. While I was doing that, I was also working at the CDC Fairplex as well. And so I kind of started working with the younger kiddos. I'm now currently getting my master's degree in child life at the same place in Laverne. And so that's a little bit of my education background, but I have been homeschooling kind of a learning pod for 2 years, almost 3 years. And it started off very small, and then that crazy pandemic has happened, and then I started getting a lot more inquiries about schools, and so I was like, you know what, yeah, I could do it. And so now I have a small little learning pod of 8 or 9 kids, and that's kind of how this all started, and all these inquiries eventually led us to, oh, maybe we should kind of expand, what should we do? And this wonderful woman had this great idea of like, hey, I'm gonna start this school. And I was like, you know what, so am I. And we were like, why would we do it separately? Why don't we just do it together? And so that's kind of how EverGrow came to be, and it's just sprouted beyond belief. And so that's just a little bit about me and our story.
Okay, so to bounce a little bit more deeper on our why, one of the main things that we wanted to do is hearing the need of people looking for an alternative way to educate their kids. Whether it's because the public school system or private school system just isn't meeting your child's needs. Maybe the craziness of the pandemic in the last 2 years, you're not okay with certain things going down, maybe curriculum choices, whatever it might be, we kept hearing, Allie and I, so many people hungry for something different. And so inquiring about homeschool and inquiring about, hey, what are other ways, if I want to homeschool, but I maybe can't homeschool 24/7, right, because we work full time, or I don't know that my kid is going to listen to me all the time and me as the sole teacher. Okay, guys, as an educator, I'm talking to you as an educator and as a mom. I get it. I get the fears that somebody might have jumping into homeschool. Been living it, still doing it now. And partnering with Allie has been such a blessing in using our creative powers and our passion to educate you together to create this EverGrow Academy to really help meet that need. Parents that are seeking an education program alternative, a different way to teach their kids outside of the traditional school system.
It's okay. So another thing that we kind of do is serve our youth and our kiddos through a holistic approach to nurture the whole child. So basically what that is dissecting the way that a child learns down to a T. And you do it cognitively, socially, all these great things, but that is then embedded into our curriculum. So has anyone, just a sign of hands, been in class and just thought, man, like I am just not good at this. Like this lesson is just not for me. I don't feel smart at all. Exactly. And so what we do is we cater to those specific learning types. Because you may not know it, but you have a learning type, whether it's hands-on learning, whether it's auditory learning. And so what we do is to kind of tackle those different learning types and make sure that that child's individual learning style is catered to, so that way they can flourish and grow as students and as human beings too.
Yes, so nurturing that whole child, you guys, is so important to us and a key cornerstone of EverGrow Academy. And this last point here is Allie and I and EverGrow Academy, we stand for and we respect freedom of choice. So we understand that the society right now, a lot of people have been feeling certain freedoms being threatened in the public school system, even in the private school system. From whatever background you come from, a lot of parents have been saying, you know, our medical freedoms are being threatened, our freedoms to parent or to educate our kids in the way that we think are being threatened. So we stand for that. We stand for that 100%. We will be an academy that welcomes that freedom and that fight for freedom, and that is one of the biggest things that I would say is also a why. Again, speaking a little bit personally, I jumped into homeschool back in 2017 because of some legislation that passed that didn't allow my little one to go to school. And so then I was, for the first time in my life, came across this, like, hey, that really messed up my freedom in letting my kid go to school. And so from there, I started really digging into what are our rights as parents in the homeschool journey, in the education journey. And right now, a lot of people have the same sentiment with things that have been happening in the world, with just wanting to really have the freedom to educate their child in the way they feel is best. And hopefully, you guys here, and those of you listening, hopefully EverGrow Academy will bring that spirit of we respect and welcome that desire for freedom that you are seeking.
All right, what we are, we've gotten so many questions about age groups, grades, what kind of care are we providing, education we're providing. So we can officially say now that we are going to begin enrollment and we're taking inquiries for TK all the way up through 8th grade. It's going to be in person. Again, that freedom of choice still stands. And it'll be Monday through Thursday options, 9 to 2. And then there's also, we're providing the homeschool journey and support for all the parents as well. So let's say, we're going to dig into it a little bit later, but let's say that it is your first time, like Diana said as well, and you're just not really sure kind of what activities to do or what lessons to do. We work with you together to find that best route for you and your family and to provide you with those lessons, activities, things like that to do at home. So yes.
Okay, what we are not, because we also get asked these questions. So no, we are not an accredited school. We will not be an accredited school. We are not a private school. We are not a charter school. We are a homeschool enrichment program that caters specifically to homeschool families. So moms, dads, you are the principals of your personal schools. And you just bring your children to us, whether it's 3 days a week or 4 days a week, where we come and assist you in teaching. But at the end of the day, that kid goes back home, and you are their homeschool teacher. And you are the one that will be reporting the grades and doing all those things that an actual homeschool private school, or if you link with the charter school, which we'll talk all about that later on, does. But we do not do that. So what else don't we do? We are not funded by the state. We are funded by tuition, by fundraisers, by working really hard at finding certain curriculum grants and things that can help the program grow, but we are not at all being funded by any kind of state board of education institution. And what else don't we do? We will not provide official transcripts. Why? Because we're not an accredited school. But you guys get to do that. And if you're like looking at me like, I don't even know how to do that, the school always did that for me. We will teach you along the way. Parents, especially those new to homeschool, will show you resources and give you resources on what you can do, and it's promise, it's not that hard. It's a little learning curve, but it's not that hard to report to whom you have to regarding your homeschool journey and attendance and official transcripts, but we won't do that here at EverGrow Academy. We also won't submit attendance records to anyone, like school districts or any kind of state board of education, nor will we collect health records. We will not be checking for immunizations, vaccinations. That is between you, your doctor, and your family. We don't need to see it. You will bring your kid healthy and ready to go to school, and if he's sick or not feeling well, just like in the old days, you don't bring him to school, right? He stays home and you nurture and take care of him. But we will not be checking any kind of medical or immunization. I mean, allergies and things like that, where obviously we need to know to take care of your little one, right? Not give him nuts, etc. Of course, you're going to communicate some of those really important facts with us, but we won't be checking and requiring different health records. Okay, moving on.
All right, so how do we work? I kind of discussed it a little bit earlier. So it is a 3 to 4 day a week regular learning schedule from 9 to 2 p.m. Mondays through Wednesdays are going to be kind of our major core curriculum subjects that we tackle, daily physical activity that we will get into in just a moment when it comes to our schedule. It's going to be a lot of group project-based learning, again tackling those specific learning types that I spoke of earlier, and then it has to be at least 3 academic days consecutively. Thursdays, which is super cool, Diana and I kind of decided, you know, it's not just enough to provide the core curriculum, we gotta go further than that, and we gotta provide these kids with extra learning opportunities. So Thursdays are kind of our elective days. And so we will have an elective wheel that Diana and I have chosen for the kids to explore, and then it's going to just allow them to grow in every other way possible. And then Family Fridays. So Fridays, we are not here. It is totally up to the family to kind of see where they should go, whether it's a family hike day, whether it's a museum that we talked about in class, whether it's some sort of outdoor exploration with the family to extend that education from here and out into the real world.
Okay, and what else do we do? So when your students come, they're going to be placed into classes, which will be their class for this school year. And our classes will be broken down by ages, so TKK combo classes, 1st and 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. But please know that Allie and I are huge advocates of multi-age learning. So even though the kids will be placed in this particular class by grade level, we're gonna have several activities throughout the week where the older kids work with the younger kids, and it's something so beautiful when you see 4th graders that are learning, you know, the basics of fractions and decimals, be able to work with kindergartners that are just learning how to count and teach them and work in group projects together. And when you see what is true learning and true mastery, when you are able to teach somebody else. So when an older child is able to teach a fellow peer that's a little younger, or vice versa, who's to say that a 5, 6-year-old can't teach something new to a 10-year-old? It's amazing when we get to work in groups, and that's life, right, you guys? I mean, look how many different ages we have in this room. So it's something so beautiful. Even though these kids are going to be put into combo classes, we are very big proponents and advocates of working together in groups collaboratively with all kinds of ages, because that's really what you do as you grow up in the real world. You work with a lot of different age people. Okay, next thing is our class ratio that we are sticking to for this first year, I think for forever with EverGrow Academy, is 15 to 1. 15 kids to 1 teacher. We really value that more smaller, intimate learning environment. And as a former teacher at junior high, when I had a class of 44 kids and not enough desks at Covina, and so kids had to sit, my first year there, I had some kids sitting by the windowsill on a table until they brought me desks. No Child Left Behind is really hard when there's 1 teacher and 44 kids of all different backgrounds and all different developmental levels and English learners, right? And lots of other needs. So we understand the need for and the beauty of smaller class environments, and that's what we're going to do, 15 to 1 ratio. Okay, this is very important to us. Math and language arts will be done always, all at the same time. So in a minute, you're going to see our breakdown of our learning schedule. But every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So if you notice, we have a 3-day or a 4-day option. If you're going to pick the 3-day, it will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 academic days. The 4-day will be that Thursday exploratory learning day. But every Monday through Wednesday, we will have math at the same time. And then we will also have, later on the day, language arts. So a couple of reasons behind that is we understand that not every child is at grade level. You have sometimes a 3rd grader who can very easily do 5th grade math, 6th grade math. Why not challenge him or her and have her do the math that he or she is really capable of doing? We might have a 3rd grader that math is like a foreign language, and we get that. Okay, I used to teach math, and no matter how you break it down, some kids, it is just so hard, and they might need a little bit slower pace level or a review of the basics so that then we can get them to grade level, right? So what we're going to do at that same age or same time math and same time language arts is it allows us and our teachers to be able to assess our learners, our students, and say, hey, some of you are going to go to so-and-so teacher for this kind of math and so on, and we're going to really be able to meet the child at their developmental need, not just their age level need, their developmental need. And that model, I think, really works well to just, again, meet the child at their learning needs and help them grow according to their pace. Next, okay, we are, because I have been getting this, we are considering adding a couple different options along the way. Potentially, for example, a 2-day a week. So I understand that there's some homeschool families that have been homeschooling for several years. Okay, one of my dear best friends is here, and she is like a rock star homeschool mama. And there's many others too that might say, well, I love homeschooling, and I want to homeschool a lot more than you know, with the 3 or 4-day option. So I would just love to send them to you for 2 days, because the rest of the week, I got them, right? So for that type of family, if there is enough of a need that come to Allie and I and say, we just want to send our kids 2 days, is that allowed? We will listen to the needs of the community. And if there's enough families, enough children that need just a 2-day model, we are definitely going to explore that. If there's enough of a need for 5 days, if there's families that are like, we really want to homeschool, but we work full-time, we're running our businesses, I can't afford to pay a private school teacher to come into my class or my home and teach all 5 days a week. If there's enough of a need, we will look at exploring the 5-day-a-week model. But I will say, and I said this to some ladies outside, for those of you even newer homeschool families, maybe you've never even done this and you're like, gonna jump and start this fall, we love the idea of empowering you to take on that homeschool at home. You guys can do it. So if you bring your kids to us 3 days or 4 days, we know that you can handle the 1 day a week. We know you can. We know you're like, but I don't want to, okay? Or they're not gonna listen. We know you can. And trust us, our teachers are gonna help you along the way with guided lesson plans and things. But again, if you're just like, well, I want to, but I can't, right? I don't have the time, then that's where we're looking at exploring a potential 5th day. But just know we will listen to needs. And as the needs arise, we will do our best to meet them. And obviously, finding the teachers and the manpower and the space. So to really keep that 50-to-1 ratio, right? We don't want to break that. All right. Anything else that you want to add to that?
No, I was just going to say that 15-to-1, you don't really get quality education if it's any more than that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Okay, so let's break down what our typical day looks like. So go ahead, Allie.
All right, so drop-off is going to be 8:45 to 9 o'clock, and it'll be just right here, up in the front. And then we are going to do a big motivational kind of meeting with all the grades, all the kiddos in this one area. When we do interviews, orientations, things like that, you will get to see that area. But it really just kind of brings us all together in a community, again with that all-inclusive age group interaction. And then, I know she's going to get really passionate about talking about this, the mindful movement in the morning. Go ahead, Diana.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Okay, so if you know in my background, I have a lot of fitness, a lot of health. I taught kinesiology at ACU. I work with a lot of students that want to go into PE and health and coaching and fitness coaching. So it's not just because I love it, but it's because you guys, there's a lot of research. The more active you are, the better your brain functions. the better your health functions, the less sick you get, the happy you are. I mean, I can just give you guys a full seminar on why we need to be just more responsible in physical activity and nutrition and all the things. But in an education setting, the research shows there's a lot by, I'm not Dr. Rady, Spark, I mean, I can go to town on doctors and studies. But here's the deal. When kids do quality physical activity that actually gets their heart pumping and energy and blood flow through their brain and through the rest of their body, before they sit and have to focus for a really concentrated subject, they are going to do so much better than kids that do not get that physical activity before that subject. So physical activity will come first. Lots of getting their wiggles out through structured play, through structured PE, where we don't just teach sports, but we teach the basics of fitness, and we make fitness fun. Why? So that it becomes a habit and that they will relate. I have so much fun when I play outside, and then they'll want to do this for the rest of their life, and hopefully continue that lifestyle of play and physical activity for the rest of their life. And then here's the other thing, math. There's some research, great research, that shows if you do math before reading and writing, your brain is also going to be more concentrated and more active for the reading and writing components that your brain utilizes when you tackle those numbers and those calculations first. So guys, there's a method to our madness. We are going to get your kids moving, right, and sweating and having a good time playing, so that when they get into their classrooms with their teachers, they're just fired up and ready to go. With lots of energy, lots of just, I'm ready, teacher, I'm awake, let's do this. So that's a little bit about why we structure our schedule in that manner.
So also you'll notice on the schedule, it's not really long period blocks, right? We're definitely science nerds, and science has proven that you cannot sit for over 45 minutes and really focus and pay attention to what you're doing. I even have some students here, and I'm going to put them on the spot. Do you do well just sitting at the table? No, right? It's a proven fact that you do not focus, you do not retain whatever you are doing if it's over 45 minutes. So that's kind of why you'll see our block periods aren't too long. So we do go through, we have a little snack and recess, again, getting our bodies kind of moving up and about. And then we have those same blocks of math and language arts as well. And then we go through social studies, lunch, and science, and at the end of the day, you guys will have pickup again 2 p.m. So that is for parents. So 8:45 will be drop off, and then 2 p.m. is dismissal, and then time for pickup as well.
Okay, and one more thing I wanted to add to our daily schedule. This is Monday through Wednesday schedule. And just like Allie just mentioned, our blocks, if you see the math block and the language arts block, that is about an hour long. But to make her point even more clear is we understand that even though it's an hour, please know it is not going to be an hour of the teacher just talking formulas and writing worksheets and just sitting and doing all that for a straight hour of math and a straight hour of language arts, reading and writing. We are going to have a lot of hands-on learning during those hours, those blocks of learning. So yes, we will communicate what the theme of the day is, right, what the math lesson is, and in that we will try to meet all of our learning abilities with the hands-on, the manipulatives, the group projects, the teamwork, outdoors, let's get outside and practice that math and, you know, doing different kinds of activities, even chalk on the floor, etc. So even though it is an hour block of certain subject matters, there's going to be a lot of active learning happening in those. And then one last thing, if you notice the morning and the very end of the day, there's something called gratitude journals, there's something called the virtue of the week. We are huge on character development. That is something that EverGrow Academy will stress a lot of. So in those morning powwows, that first part of the morning day, we are going to be communicating to all of our kids, right, what the virtue of the week is. It could be compassion. It could be hard work. It could be discipline. It could be taking responsibility for one's own actions. It could be gratitude. And so that week, we're going to be focusing on one particular virtue, and we will be embedding that in everything that we say and do, because we strongly believe that it's not just about giving our kids quality academics, they also know how to be quality humans, right? With those traits that can give good social interactions and learn how to have relationships, positive relationships. So those virtues and those character developments will be embedded in everything we do.
Right, to carry on into the real world.
Absolutely. Okay, So Thursdays are exploratory days, which this is our elective wheel, and this is going to be really fun for us. If you notice, the same kind of breakdown from morning to drop off. But what we're going to do is an elective wheel. So after we get the kids moving through structured PE, mindful movement, each class will have their first elective of the day. And here we wrote some examples: gardening, nutrition, Spanish. Yo hablo español y me encanta enseñarle a todos español. Okay. So your kid will learn some Spanish, hopefully 4 other foreign languages if we can squeeze them in. Oh my goodness, we'd love to do that. Readers, theater, or the dramatic arts, those are so cool. It's such a great way for kids to practice public speaking and reading. Art and creative drawing, STEM, Lego, engineering, lots of building. So what happens is each kid goes through their first elective. And then when that elective is over, our teachers are going to rotate and teach each elective to each kid. So each of our teachers is going to be responsible, the expert of teaching that one elective. So the cool thing about this too is it allows all our students to learn from all our teachers and not just their main core home-based classroom teacher, right? So if I was teaching Spanish, I would get the opportunity and the privilege to teach the whole school, EverGrow Academy, Spanish, and vice versa. So the fall semester, we'll have 5 electives, and then come spring, we'll have another group of 5 electives. So that's what that looks like. Okay, curriculum. Let's talk curriculum here. All right. Miss Ellie and I have been working hard on finding some solid curriculums. And honestly, what's helped is from my background in teaching, and then my background now in homeschooling, I've really become a nerd in trying out all kinds of curriculums. What fits my 10-year-old who you can give him a book and he can just learn it on his own. He doesn't need me. To my other kids that need a lot more like assistance, and so each kid's so different. So I've been exploring different homeschool curriculums. And what we have decided is we want to do a really interdisciplinary curriculum that just isn't a standalone, like we're going to teach science and then that's it. We won't see science again all day. Then we'll go to social studies. We want to integrate. So what we're learning in social studies, if that can then turn into our writing assignment for language arts, why not? If that can then, whatever we learn in social studies can also implement and affect science, awesome. And if that could also affect math and maybe translate what the social studies lesson was to some kind of mathematical principles, even better. So we're really going to try to integrate learning throughout the whole day, not just by standalone subjects. And something we absolutely love is project-based learning. Project-based learning takes just the worksheet-only type of learning out the door, and it creates for so much collaborative group learning. It really helps to create critical thinkers, which we know we really need, some great critical and common sense thinkers in our world, okay? We need creative problem solvers, okay, that can analyze information. Well, what do I think about it? Why does she think about it? What do I agree or disagree with? And let's create a solution together. We need those type of people in our world too. And how does this all matter to the real world? Okay, when I'm teaching my kids, and right now we're really tackling fractions. So I often get my 10-year-old that says, why do I even need to know this? I know you guys all ask yourselves that, right? Why do I need to know the life cycle of a frog? Well, maybe you're going to be like Rocky, that's going to be an awesome insect biologist and want to know that. But for example, this project-based learning really takes those fractions and decimals and some of the kind of I don't even know why I need this to real life. So for my 10-year-old, and for what we're going to do a lot with your students, is really apply that. Well, fractions we see all over the place in cooking, in recipes. You better know what 1/2 cup of flour means versus a quarter, or else the cookies ain't gonna come out right? My little one loves sports. Well, hello, statistics on batting averages and how many shots you can make. 2 out of 10, what does that mean? If you got a 20% this or that. So we love taking real world scenarios into what we are learning so kids can say, oh, I get it. This is why I probably should know this. But this is how I'm going to use it. Okay, next please, Jonathan, thank you. All right, so what we're looking at for integrated curriculum for language arts, social studies, and science is this curriculum called Moving Beyond the Page. Parents, I encourage you to look that up. You can Google it. It's incredible. I've been using it with my kids this year, and it's very integrative. It's based on a lot of literature, but don't freak out on me if you're like, oh, my kids don't like to read. You guys, we read awesome classical books that have been around for so long, to new stuff, to a lot of picture books, so fiction, nonfiction, historical fiction, but it's presented in such a way where the kids are learning these through literature, but then we're embedding so many great types of other subject matter, the sciences and the social studies and the language arts together. So we are really liking this moving beyond the page, and it really takes kids learning all the learning styles that Ali spoke about in the beginning. It really matches the kinesthetic, the visual, the reader, the writer, the auditory listener. All right, for math, Singapore. We're really looking at Singapore math. Singapore math is based in Singapore, and if you do any kind of research on what nations always come out top in mathematical reasoning and mathematical performance, and Singapore is always up there. So they created this really great curriculum that now the U.S. has been using since about 1998, and it's awesome. It really takes math to a very hands-on and real-world scenario, and it's great for the little ones, lots of pictures, lots of manipulatives, very visual. And we're also maybe looking at potentially Saxon for junior high, but maybe just keep it with Singapore. We'll make our decisions real soon. What about technology? Okay, technology has its time and place. YouTube, the fact that you guys can see us right now is an incredible asset to technology, right? And a great testament that we need technology in this day and age. But for EverGrow Academy, we're gonna let you guys, parents, do the technology at home. So the typing, the iPads, the Chromebooks, that's going to be at home. Here, we're going to go old school, hands-on learning. We're not going to ask Siri for the answer. We are going to dig into books. We are going to ask each other. They're not only going to look at teachers, we're going to say, what do you think? Right? And we're going to get kids to just learn the basics again of discovery and trying to find out for themselves what they think the answer should be, or what how they can go and find the answer than just going to the technology. This has its place, and we're very thankful for it, but we're going to let you guys continue building on that. And yes, if teachers want to use it to potentially show a video that will match for the lesson, absolutely, but we're not going to be spending 9 to 2 all day on Chromebooks. Okay, what else? Last thing, what we will not teach. We will not teach sex ed. We will not teach gender identity ed. We will not teach faith-based instruction. We believe that those things should be first and foremost taught in the home, led by the parents. So we will let parents also discuss and teach those things, but you will not see those subjects in our curriculum.
All right, so teachers, fellow educators, going off of what Diana said, the project-based learning, if you guys aren't familiar with that type of style and that approach, and you're looking at applying here, I suggest you get very familiar with it very quickly. And then also going off of the technology, of course it has its time and place, but again, we're not going to be doing lessons on it. Getting back to how teaching used to be done is very important to us, and also important to the kids because we want to create these critical thinkers. For the teachers especially, we want to hire qualified, credentialed teachers that also serve as just guides and collaborators with us and the children. Typically, you just see a teacher kind of standing up and talking to kids. That's not our route. We get on their level, we speak to them, in a certain way that they can all understand, and they also need to be able to serve as guides through this learning journey. Again, we're not standing up there talking at people, we're talking with them. We're not teaching the children what to think, we're teaching them how to think, which is very important to us. If you are thinking of applying, applications are due on June 3rd and no later after that.
And all the information is on our website, you guys, as far as how to apply. Okay, what are your responsibilities, okay, if you bring your child here to EverGrow Academy? So a couple things. We're expecting you guys to help prepare them for class, for successful learning here. So if we do give some homework, if we do say, hey, read this chapter before coming to class on Monday, we expect you guys to take that responsibility to help your child thrive here. And not just with homework assignments, but with all other things that will help your student thrive here. From, getting enough sleep. I'm not gonna tell you how to parent, that is your job, but get whatever you know your child needs to thrive and do, have a great, energetic, happy day here. Help us in that manner. Keep going.
So like I said before, we are going to partner with you guys to create that kind of learning environment for your child. And one way that we do that is to encourage those family activities like on those Fridays. Like I know some families are very, very big on family activities and they're like, hey, we're not going to be here on school. And I'm like, oh, okay. But at the same time, you're building your learner. You're building that child's character development. You're building their education as you're out and about doing things with the family. Also, filing a private affidavit or partnering with a charter school. So you guys have the option to file as a private homeschool, and what that, we'll get into it in a lot of detail. But so what that does for you is you guys are your own staple school, just like Diana said. You're the principal of your child, you create the school name, and you are responsible, solely responsible for providing the state with whatever paperwork necessary. Personal experience, it doesn't get too hefty until around high school. So all of the requirements that you need to submit typically will not need to be submitted, like attendance and things like that, until the high school age.
Okay, tuition. All right, for our 3 days a week, this is what you see here. It comes out to $4,750 a year. We will have payment plans where you can do month to month. This is our 4-day-a-week model. We are asking every child do a $100 enrollment fee to secure your spot. Let's talk about spots. With that 15-to-1 ratio and with this beautiful congregation that's opened their doors to us teaching here, we have about 6 classrooms here that meet all of those core grades, TK1, TKK, first and second, third, fourth, etc. So our limit right now as it's looking is about 100 students, kind of first come, first serve, 100
all
students.
Across the board.
Yes, for this first year, to really stay true to our 15-to-1 ratio. So we're going to talk about the enrollment process on the next slide, but you'll see that $100 non-refundable enrollment fee really helps to secure your child spot once you've been accepted. For each additional sibling, it's 10% off. And then school supplies, so all the things from markers and color pencils and paper, etc. That's on your responsibility to help bring your child just equipped with that. But every teacher will give you at the beginning of the school year just some basic supplies that your kids are going to need, and even some additional workbooks and things that we might not personally be able to provide here, but we will instruct. And please know that Allie and I, in looking at curriculum, are really looking at curriculum publishers where it is not going to break your bank to purchase the workbooks that we need your kids to have at home that follow along with what we're doing here. Okay, so we're really mindful of that. And one question we get asked a lot: we cannot and will not accept charter school funds. So some of you might be brand new and you're like, what is a charter school? We're going to talk about that at the very end. I'm going to give a very simple homeschool 101, like what are your options here? So one of your options to homeschool here is partnering with a charter school. And what charter schools do is they give you a certain amount of funds per child that you can use all year long for their learning journey. So it could be on curriculum, it could be on classes, music classes, etc. So some programs similar to ours do take charter funds, some don't. And one of our biggest reasons for not, which is another of the biggest reasons why we aren't getting a school accreditation from the state, is that we are a homeschool enrichment program where we don't want to have to abide by certain mandates or policies that we don't agree with. So when you partner, when you start accepting charter school funds, which my students are with charter schools, and by the way guys, those funds are beautiful and we use them for their curriculum and we use them for piano class and drum class, and they've been such a blessing. But when a program like ours starts taking funds from those charter schools, we then have to abide by certain rules, certain curriculums, certain mandates that we just don't want to. We want to give you guys and us the freedom to operate in that manner, so we are not taking charter school funds for that's one of the main reasons. Okay, go ahead. Enrollment.
All right, so some of you have already sent in your enrollment inquiries, which is great, so thank you for all of that. But what we're going to do first, if you go onto our website, right below at evergrowacademy.com, you'll see a tab, and it'll be specifically for enrollment. So what you do, there's going to be a form on there as well that you fill out, and it'll automatically get sent to us. and then we will have you in our books already, and then we will also begin to do interviews, which is the next step. So you send in your form, we get it, and then we begin the interview process with families, and then maybe just a few days, depending on how many people we get, because we've been getting so many. We will then notify you and the family of acceptance, or we may say, oh, you know what, we may not be moving forward with this. So after you complete the enrollment forms, you will pay that $100 fee, and then you're in EverGrow Academy.
Yes, and you can expect to hear back from us. We're trying to see for our family interviews, which, by the way, will be about 30 to 45 minutes, just to get to know you, get to know your kids, what are their needs, why do you want to come here, etc., right? Probably around mid-May, we're looking at after about May 16th to start scheduling those. So we will inform you via email when those interviews will take place. Next, Jonathan. Can you hear me? Okay, all right, go ahead.
Also teachers as well. So you'll kind of go through the similar process of filling out that form and sending us your application as well. We'll then get it, notify you, and then again, either moving forward or not moving forward, you'll also get a notification around the same time, May, June. All right, so last great thing, which I'm so excited about, is that we are hosting our first fundraiser here, June 26th, and it is going to be spectacular. I'm so excited. So what we're going to do is this will also be, this is online. This will be online for you guys to all see. You will be purchasing tickets through the website as well, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then we also have payments as well. So when you purchase a ticket, it is $10 for a child ages 3 to 15, and then $15 for those 16 and older. Children under 2 years old don't need to purchase a ticket for, but what that purchase does come with is your meal, and then it also gives you a raffle ticket as well. We will also be having raffle tickets here that you can purchase extra ones of, but that is the price point and what it includes. So you guys get a meal, you get a free raffle ticket, and then you get to enjoy. I was going to say, you get to enjoy some music too, because we'll have a live band as well.
Yeah, so you guys, just to add a little bit more on fundraising, you guys, we are starting this from the ground up, and I wish I could say we have all the funds necessary to just make this, as accessible for everyone. But we do need support. So, first of all your support that you've given us thus far, from sharing what we're doing, from all the people that have reached out already about, like, Diana, Allie, we want to enroll our kid here. That, you guys, is such a just answered prayer. It brings us so much encouragement to keep moving forward. But to be super transparent and honest, we need to obviously have startup funds to buy all of our curriculum, because we don't want our teachers having to spend all kinds of money on classroom supplies, which I was a teacher. I know that happens, right? I want to be able to offer our educators the quality curriculum, the tools that they need in their class. Our kids, I want to have the manipulatives and the things that is going to make learning so fun. So with this fundraiser, whether your participation, we'll just know is going to help so much in help getting this started. And anyone that you know too, even if they're not into homeschooling, but they're like, whoa, this program is really going to bless families, not just in Glendora, local communities. It's going to change the way we're doing education. If you know someone that is just like, I think they would want to support this mission, this vision, come have them talk to us, whether they come to the fundraiser or not. Just, again, any amount, if it's a penny or whatever else, $1,000, doesn't matter to us, you guys. We will, please know, put those funds into just the best action we can to really bless these kiddos, right? And in turn, really help you in your homeschool journey. So in advance, we thank you all for just your participation in that, because it means the world to us. It really does. So thank you. Okay, now the next part of this, I believe, is your turn. So you guys might have questions. So back to YouTube. We're going to be stating the questions that we hear, if any of you do have questions. And then on YouTube, you can comment. If there's a pressing question that we haven't yet answered, you can write it on there. Jonathan will read it to us. Or you can also email us, info@evergrowacademy.com. All right, guys, what questions? Yes, ma'am.
What would be a reason you would deny application? I noticed you said that, you might email saying, yes or no. So I'm wondering what would be the reason to say no?
For families or for teachers?
For families. I thought that was what.
It just may not be the best fit. You may want to do different types of curriculums, you may want to do different types of learning, you may want to do, this schedule just doesn't plan out work for me. And then again, we also get that chance to talk to you guys and communicate with you in the interviews as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
If I donate my money, can I tell you how to teach my kids?
No, you cannot. It comes with no strings attached, good of your heart and soul, and we give you our gratitude and appreciation. That's about the extent of it.
I have to say his question out loud for you guys to hear. He said, if I donate my money, will I be able then to tell you what to teach my kids? No strings attached donations, please. Hey, we value and we will hear, right? We will hear the community's needs. But yes, we have a philosophy,
Yes.
and we want to meet your child and your family's needs where they are. But great question. Yes.
Wondering what the security would be like, if it's dated or
Yes.
pickup and
Yes.
keypad or lockdown.
Okay, so Jonathan in the back, good question. So by the way, she's asking about security and will there be gates? So Jonathan and I were just discussing a lot of this. So to be very honest again, our campus here, there's a lot of TLC. We're getting the classrooms ready that we're gonna be doing. By the way, May 15th and May 22nd, we're having worker bee days where Jonathan's congregation and any of our volunteers are gonna come and we are gonna clean up and just get this campus ready to go. So with that comes safety issues. And yes, gates, and Jonathan can also maybe speak to this too, but him being the head elder here in the campus, really facilitator, director, yes, gates along all sides where just no one is going to be able to come in and out. Do you want to chime in on that, Jonathan, in any way?
Yeah, we have a gated property. Your kids are really safe here.
And then as far as people, so yes, your kids will be in their classrooms. Allie and I are always going to be here walking the campus, and we are going to be looking at the drop-off. I mean, we already have ideas on how the drop-off, the signing in, the signing out. Just like, honestly, any summer camps that you may take in your kids, or even if you go to Sunday school, or if you go to any other preschool, the way that you sign in, sign out, we will be having very strict protocols on who can take your child, right, upon pickup, upon drop-off, sorry. And then we will, if we need to find guard duties, right, for different aspects of our day, we're going to be obviously hiring and or taking parental volunteers for certain things like that.
But it is gated, to answer that question. It's gated on all sides too. I think something to also address is, we are in the mountains, and there is wildlife here, and so something that we will emphasize as well is safety outdoors as well, and kind of recognizing signs. Is there, a hole over here? Should I stick my arm in it? We'll always. I mean, you think it's a silly question, but it's really not to a 6-year-old. But we will always address those, especially when we do plan on moving forward with families. We will address them with you and reinforce them continuously throughout the year, all the time with our kids.
Yes,
what about if your child has like a learning disability? Because right now my daughter gets like 100 minutes of like one-on-one time, like with her phonetics and short-term memory and all that.
Okay, so great question. I'm just going to repeat it. So what about if your child has learning disabilities? How will we accommodate that? Do you want to answer it?
We would love to accommodate all children with any kind of different ability. That's what we call it in child development. Any kind of different ability. We would love to aid and help you through your learning journey. Unfortunately, we just don't have the staff or kind of attention that your child would require. So at this moment, just for now, we may get someone, tomorrow or in 6 months, we don't know. But as of now, we do not have those type of qualified educators that we feel comfortable putting your child in the care of.
So just to add on that a little bit, this is where the family interview upon you doing your inquiry will really help, where you can address those needs with us. And we'll be honest, if we don't have the educator with that special needs certification that we know can really fuel your child's needs to the best of their ability, we'll be honest and say, not yet. Do we want to be able to do so? Yes, but at the moment we can't. We got an inquiry about if we'll take a blind student. Not yet. I'm not going to say yes to every child, even though we want to welcome everyone, because we don't want to disservice that child, knowing that we can't truly, fully provide the care that that little one needs. So we will do our best, but that's where the family interviews will really come into play. And even our teachers, those of you that are like, I want to apply. If you do, let us know that. If you do have that special needs adaptive credential or experience with children of all kinds of needs, please let us know, because we really
are an asset.
Yes, big asset. Yes. I think I saw another hand. Yes.
For your younger kids, I know that you said that, that we have to sort of keep all the records and work with the charter school. At what age do you need to do that? Because I think it's not until like 6, right?
It doesn't get seriously. So what she asked is like, when do you kind of start submitting all of those records and indication that your child is getting, quality learning to the charter school? You will fill out paperwork in the beginning of the school year. However, there's not a heavy amount of reporting done up until there's, again, like that high school age where you truly need like those transcripts and things like that for possible college educations and things like that. But also personal experience and education on it. It's not heavy to do, and it's typically not a constant kind of, you need to do this, you need to submit this. Usually the charter school will also take care of that for you.
Alright, so like that affidavit paperwork will be done with you guys upon enrollment? Like that's something that you'll walk us through, or?
Yes, the private affidavit, we can help walk you through that process. But filing with that charter school, they will take care of that process.
Yeah. And then, just so you guys know too, a child here in California, can't speak for other states, but here in California, you don't have to report that they're even doing any kind of school until they're 6. So TK, you don't have to tell anyone. They could be doing TK with you, or you could have them enrolled. But TK and kinder until that child is 6 is when you have to show the powers that be that they're either homeschooling, they're at a public school, they're at a charter school. But we will be providing our parents new to the homeschool journey. How do I file a PSP, private school, PSA affidavit? What if I want to go into a charter school? Which in my next few slides, I'm going to touch on that just a little bit. Yes?
How do you, maybe this is for, I've never homeschooled before, but I'm interested in it. How do you address like objections from people, or, I don't know, people asking you things like, oh, I don't know, just objections, people, family members, and just criticism from.
Okay, so
Why would you homeschool your
how do you handle comments like, why are you homeschooling? Why are you doing that to your child, right? Or how are they going to get socialization? How many of you heard that? Okay, raise your hand if you're homeschooling. Some of the most social kids I know, right here, personally I know, so much socialization. That's a great question. So as you enter the homeschool world, I mean, you could come back to them right away and say, well, do you realize that some of the students, the majority of students in the high school, seniors going into college, that some of the top students that get into Ivy League schools are actually homeschooled kids. We've got a lot of, I personally know, 15, 16-year-olds here in Glendora going to Citrus and doing college level classes as 16-year-olds because they're homeschooled. And because you can fuel them at their pace and have them run with that subject that they love, right? That's one of the beauties of homeschooling. It's almost like, why would you not? No, but hey, I taught lots of public school, I taught private school, now I'm in the homeschool journey, but it's to each their own. I know some of my friends are teachers in beautiful schools here in Covina, Glendora, San Diego, LA, and they love their jobs. And they do a great job with their kids. And some parents just love their schools. But right now, what we're hearing a lot of is, I'm not okay with certain choices and decisions being made in the schools. They're not servicing my child the way that I anticipated or that my child needs. So it is really an individual decision. And with that, there's not a one-word answer or a one cookie-cutter answer. But as you jump into the homeschooling journey, and especially with a program like ours that helps you along the way where you're not doing it all by yourself, it is a really win-win situation for the kids, the community. And there's so many guys, if socialization is a particular concern for you, thank you, just know there's so many ways, even outside of schooling, that your kids gain socialization. One, talking with you in the home. Talk to your kids, okay? Two, sports, music, art, getting involved in the community. Talk to your neighbors. Who knows their neighbor? Let's go meet our neighbor. Like, talk, you guys. There's so many ways to teach your child. They should be learning that in your home. But okay, I'm going to stop there. But there's so many great ways on how to socialize and then build that in your kids outside of just the traditional school system.
I think speaking from an educator's perspective and also someone that never would have thought that I would be kind of jumping into the homeschool life, it is very liberating and it's also so exciting at the same time because you can look back on your education, whether you're in private school, and you'll see, man, I never got these opportunities. I never got to go to sports at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I never got to go to 5 different electives all in one day. And that's what our program offers, is that adaptability and the different kind of experiences that these kids could have. And you don't really get that a lot of different places. And so for your family, it might be like, oh my gosh, this is great. You know, my kid gets 10 different kind of classes, all these different experiences, where in a traditional setting, they may not do that. And so that's kind of just one way to tackle it, is I have found this great program that is going to give my kid everything that they need. And it's so different that they're going to thrive in this. And from research and a science nerd, they do.
Yes.
How about snacks and lunch?
Okay, oh, great. So she asked, how about snacks and lunch? So we are going to ask all of our parents to bring your children their snack and their lunch. Whether it's in an old school brown paper bag or a cute little, we will be doing lunchtime here. But as of now, we do not have a food service system. With that to say though, we will not let a child go hungry. So we do have this beautiful kitchen here that Jonathan's church has. State-of-the-art kitchen, just got remodeled, right? It just got remodeled.
Beautiful,
it's beautiful. Hence why we want to do nutrition classes and cooking classes and actually use that kitchen. So if there is a need, again, the family interview, if there is a need where your family, that child needs assistance with lunch, with snack, we will do whatever we can to make sure our children are fed. But we are asking from the get-go that, I'm sorry? Yes, that your parents' main responsibility is to bring your kids lunch and snacks. Yes.
Will there be allergy restrictions?
Absolutely, there will be allergy restrictions. We have dealt with that in many different ways, from children being allergic to nuts, to mangoes, whatever. So the minute we hear from the families through different forms and things that will have you communicate with us, if your child has a particular allergy, then affecting, depending the severity and all that, if we can't have a certain item in the whole school to protect that little one, then hey, that's kind of what we have to do to protect the safety, for that one and the rest of the kids. So that's a like by family scenario that we will address and how it affects the rest of the school, the rest of the kids. Yes?
Can I ask about that? Because she's homeschooled, but one of the reasons is because of food allergies. So with a 504, there's a certain protection, right? Like a plan in place.
Yeah.
If you're not there, or if you're not there. So do you have an idea of how it would be handled from educator to educator throughout the whole, campus for varying allergies of all these different, for the kids that may have all kinds of different allergies?
Yeah. Thank you. Again, so this is a very specific allergy question. If your child has very unique allergies or just severe allergic responses to certain things, that's what I can't answer right now because I don't know what your little one and her 504 plan. But again, if this is something that upon us hearing through our family interview that we feel, yes, we can accommodate it, yes, we have the manpower, the staff, the knowledge to do so, welcome. If we don't, if we feel that we can't meet all those needs, then we will very honestly tell you at this point we cannot serve your child in the way that she needs to. So that's where, again, you guys, those enrollment forms and the family interview, it's like your time to really tell us your kids' true needs and just, honesty back and forth, transparency, so that we don't want to say yes to something we either didn't know or feel that we can't truly serve.
Or vice versa too. Don't be afraid to kind of use the entire form. We want to really know what your needs are. So for her, maybe we can accommodate it. Maybe it's not the best option, but we really want to know so that way we can make that, the best decision for her.
Yes.
Can parents volunteer during the day in the classroom?
Great question. So our teachers will definitely be telling our parents via newsletters and emails when they do need parent volunteers. So if there's a special activity, a holiday, we love celebrating holidays, when we have parental or community nights and different things where we do need parents, you will be hearing from us and our teachers when we need parent volunteers, but that will be communicated kind of class by class, teacher by teacher needs. And again, we also, with parent volunteers, we want to be very respectful to the schedule of learning, to the needs, and to just who who comes in and on and off campus. And all of our teachers, by the way, will be cleared through background checks, through fingerprint, clearance and all that to make sure that they are truly capable to be working with kids. And so we also take in mind that even with parent volunteers. If we say yes to all parents and people and family members coming on campus, then that can also be of a concern, right? So this will be done by our teachers and by different events that we have and we really welcome family involvement. I mean, that makes homeschool so much better when obviously you are so involved, not just homeschool, any kind of education, when you are personally really involved in your kids' learning.
As for now, our volunteer days are the 15th to the 20th.
Yes.
Those are the first volunteer
Yes.
options for everything taken.
Yes. Yes.
So we understand that since you're not getting any state funding effectively, you're not going to have to follow certain academic guidelines provided by the state. However, the county might provide other types of mandates or guidelines. For example, masking, that kind of stuff. Even though you're not getting necessarily state funding academically, but that's under maybe a different umbrella. What are your thoughts on that?
Great question. So if you didn't hear YouTube, help me rephrase it. So basically, because we're not a state-funded school or we're not accredited in any way with the state, we may not have to follow certain mandates that public, private schools do, but county mandates that might come may affect us. So we have been brainstorming this a lot. And where I'll stand right now with my answer to that question right now is we will honor freedom of parental choice in what you believe is the best in terms of health for your child to follow. Again, we can't speak of what might come in the future, right? And we kind of have to take it scenario by scenario. But if we can remain open, if the community here and like-minded parents and the congregation and just the community in general is about, yes, we feel 100% okay to keep going forward in person and not abiding by certain things if we are truly allowed to, and we won't get 100% shut down and told that we can't do things, then we will follow that.
Yeah,
but
we don't want to put the school at risk, right?
Totally.
That's not the intention.
Totally, absolutely.
But people have different belief systems, and I mean, even going to the gym, someone reports to the Department of Health, and all of a sudden you're not going to put a mask on again. So
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so again, we will tread with that with wisdom, with even expertise, like seeking out legal expertise and things when we need to. But we really are firm believers of fighting for freedom and obviously giving parental choice in what you believe is the best for your child. So we will cross that bridge if and when it comes here, and hopefully it doesn't. But I'll let you guys think about that later. Okay, anything else? Yes, Carla.
When does the start? Oh, sorry. You asked me a question?
Do you have a question?
Yeah, is there going to be performances or anything?
What was your question?
Is there going to be performances, like
Okay, so for those who couldn't hear, are there going to be performances? We love performances, and if you've gone to the school that we created, performances are huge. Love them. It's a great time for families to come and celebrate, to be involved, which is exactly what we want in this homeschool journey, is for you to be involved and to have those experiences that traditional schooling does provide for you guys. And so performances, fairs, things like that, little festivals, we totally feel that it is appropriate and just needed to, I guess, make the family unit thrive. And so, short answer, yes.
Yes, we will be having a fall and a spring. Carla?
Start and end of the academy, and is there a spring break?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. First is the first day of school. She asked about dates for the school calendar year. So we will be starting officially the day after, was it Labor Day? September 6th. And then the school year goes up until June 3rd of next year. And yes, there is a spring break. I believe it is the last week of March. And going along with our breaks as well as our winter break. And we are giving a 2-week break the 19th or 16th of December.
And a Thanksgiving break. So honestly, guys, basically all the breaks that local school districts do, the common breaks or Thanksgiving, even all the national holidays, right? When banks close, when schools close, we will definitely be honoring that as well. And really just kind of mimicking some of the main breaks that all nearby schools do. And that academic calendar schedule will be up on our website real soon, like for 2022, 2023. But first day of school, we're taking it old school. When I used to go to school back in the day, we started after Labor Day. None of this August 15th business. It is still summer. So we're going after Labor Day,
August
come
is
to
the
class.
month for pool parties. Yes.
Yes.
He asked if there is going to be graduations with his small cap, his kindergarten cap and gown. Yes, there is.
In here,
100%.
Rocky.
Right
Graduations
here.
in here.
Again, it's just one of those experiences that you don't want to forfeit for your child or family at all. Has anyone gone to their pre-K or kinder graduation or promotion? Yeah, raise your hand. Yeah. And that's just, it's one of those memories that you just, it's indescribable, and it's one of the best that you could have for your family. So yes, there are going to be promotions and graduations.
Yes, for the milestone grades, right? So like after that kinder year, the junior, getting into junior high, and our 8th graders. Yes, ma'am.
Will you two be teaching, and then the teachers that you hire, will they be required to be accredited?
Okay, so
Yes.
will we be teaching? I'm just going to, and will our teachers be accredited and or credentialed, right?
So yes, they are, as a requirement to even apply, you have to be credentialed and accredited as a teacher as well. For us, I have truly gone back and forth. If we get the best quality teachers ever, I will forfeit my position in teaching. But just because I believe that someone is so great and can truly do a much better job than I have. But until then, I'm keeping my teaching position. So for anyone who knows me as a teacher, we're in luck now. But yeah.
And we are also understanding, we both love teaching. I don't, if it's one child or 100 of them, like that's what we are. We're educators. And I absolutely love teaching. So, but I also realize that we can't wear all the hats. There needs to be directors. There needs to be, you know, us and floaters in the campus to help out our teachers. So can we potentially be guest educators, guest teachers, and help teach different lessons? Oh my gosh, absolutely. But we are hoping and praying that we find 5 awesome, to start us off, 5 really awesome certificated, lots of experience, not just what you look like on paper, you guys, just for those of you listening or interested. We're really looking for compassionate, engaged, empowering teachers that want to do this, not just for a job. There's already too many people like that in our education system, people that really want to feed these little ones so much love, so much education, so much guidance in their journey as they grow. So if that's you, as you're listening, please apply. Yes?
Will you guys be tracking like absences or sick days, or like it doesn't?
Are we going to be tracking absences of the children.
Yes.
So what we will do is, I mean, truly, you guys you have the responsibility to bringing your kids, on and off campus. And if you're committed to the 3 days, well, we want to see your child for the 3 days, right? Because we have lots of great plans for them. But obviously, your child gets sick, something happens, you want to go on vacation, which you will learn if you're new to the homeschool world. You can really do lots of cool learning vacations along the way, right? But just communicate with the teacher. If we need to set up a little lesson plan for the week because we know you're not going to be there, if there's something that we can do to just help that child if we know where he's not going to be here for a week or two, just so he doesn't fall so behind, we'll be helping that parent with that. But will we be reporting attendance to some kind of powers that be? Absolutely not. That's the responsibility of the parent to do that. Yes, ma'am.
Can you go on hikes?
Do we go on big hikes? Well, it depends. Do you like going on big hikes? Yes, then yes, we're gonna go on big hikes. So on our family fun days, our adventure learning days, again, the Fridays, those are gonna be optional, but we do anticipate wanting to do just awesome EverGrow adventure days. And so will hiking be a part of that? I love hiking. And these mountains back here, you're from Glendora, awesome hikes here, maybe new ones, maybe beach days, right? Lots of things where we can do adventure learning together. So I do anticipate hiking in our EverGrow future. Absolutely.
Community building in general.
Yes.
So I know you guys have a curriculum here. Could we implement it at home as well?
Could you implement the curriculum that we provide here at home with your child?
Yeah.
Yes, so again, working with the teachers, we will provide you with those newsletters of what we're doing in the classroom, and then we will also inform you of, hey, this is, the curriculum that we're going for math, this is the one for language arts or literatures, and then it's up to you guys to get those books, textbooks, things like that. And then again, the teacher will also help you with the supplemental lessons as well that you can do with your child. Again, if there's any reading that needs to be done at home, if there's a lesson that, we're going to be starting next week, we might kind of say, hey, this is what's going on. If you want to look into it, go for it, and this is what we're going to be doing. So for teachers, we will be providing those updates, we will be giving those newsletters, we will be doing those emails, and then you'll also be providing those extra supplement lessons for the kids at home.
Yes, and one more thing with that. We want you guys to continue the learning at home. You are their number one teacher. You're their parent from the beginning that child entered this world. So yes, you can do what we are teaching your kid, and we want you to. We want you to supplement that and add to that. But you can also teach them anything else that we aren't doing, right? So if you bring your child Monday through Wednesday, you might say, you know what guys, Thursday, Friday, you tell your children, Mom is the teacher, or Dad's the teacher, and we're gonna do different kinds of learning, maybe something that Allie and I don't do here at EverGrow, and that is perfectly okay. So as a homeschool parent, you really have that freedom to teach, state standards and grade level stuff, and teach other things too. That's dear to your culture, that's dear to your faith. You can really teach so many different things. So yes, we want you to follow up and supplement, but for sure, take your child where you want them to go in their education journey. Yes?
So, I don't know much about enrolling in a charter and if it's kind of on the late end of it, but if we were to go that route, the charter funds, if they were in school most of the week here, the charter funds we could still use those for something else, other classes, I guess.
Yes, okay, so she's asking, for those of you that need to hear, if you're enrolled with a charter school, how can we use those funds, right? If they're coming here, and now you still have usually you get about $2,600, it ranges from about $2,400 to $2,700 a child. My next slides, if you want to stay, you guys, and same with YouTube viewers, the next two slides are simply that, what does homeschooling with the charter school look like? What if you go private? So just real quick, if you know that we aren't taking charter school funds. So my two children are with Blue Ridge Academy. I love Blue Ridge Academy. It is a great charter school. I can still homeschool the way I love to, but then those funds, what do I use them for? I use them for curriculum. I use it for music classes, sometimes sports. I use it for computer printer ink, because We run through a lot of different, projects and worksheets on our learning, so that ink comes in handy. Anything that aids into the development of my child. Chapter books, so you can definitely use the charter school money that you get if you partner with one for all kinds of learning activities that charter will allow for. Just most charters will not allow you to use funds, actually all charters will not allow you to use funds for any kind of faith-based curriculum or faith-based instruction. You can still do that, you just can't use that money to purchase those things. But you have total freedom to use that charter school money with other learning opportunities. I know some people that use it on horseback riding lessons, right, which aren't cheap. Some gardening supplies because they're teaching their child how to garden, and so they got these great little garden kits for their student and the gardening workbook of some sort. So you have so much great opportunity to use those funds to just aid and fuel the child's learning experience at home.
What about insurance?
Good question. We will be, as EverGrow Academy, having our own liability insurance policy. We have to. Anytime, even I used to do a lot of personal training. I had to have my own liability insurance when I was working one-on-one or outside of the park with someone. So we will also be having our own liability insurance here that protects EverGrow. Yes, a great question. Absolutely, that's a must. Jonathan, is there anything on YouTube that we did not cover yet?
Check your phone.
Oh, sorry. He texted me. Sorry, guys. It's on Do Not Disturb. So, thank you, Jonathan. Jonathan, okay. Do you follow state or Common Core standards? Great question. Okay, our curriculum hits the state standards for grade levels, but we will surpass those. Common Core, honestly, is not my favorite. But hey, we're homeschoolers, so you don't have to follow that. You teach your kids to his or her learning style. So I'm speaking from a teacher's perspective that did start teaching Common Core, and I personally didn't like the teaching methods for all kids under that umbrella. For some, it worked beautifully. For some, it didn't. So hey, will we follow state standards? Will we follow, like, what should kindergartners know by the time they leave kindergarten? Absolutely. Those are benchmarks. Those will help us and our teachers decide, like, are we truly educating our kids to what the education boards from years and years and years ago have said that this is appropriate for the development of that child? Yes. But does our curriculum do that? Absolutely. And let me just tell you this, it supersedes it. If we follow a Singapore math curriculum, by the time your child finishes 8th grade, he will be ready to start Algebra 2 and geometry. Way more, it's at least a year advanced than most 8th grade, and I'm going to say all 8th grade California state curriculums. So it is oftentimes a homeschooling route, and our curriculum is going to be quite even maybe advanced, and you'll see that. But again, we see your kids 3-4 days. You continue the learning at home. Anything else, Jonathan, that I missed?
Fundraising goal. Denise asked, what's the fundraiser goal now? We don't like to cap ourselves or limit ourselves. Yeah, you guys will see when you get there, there's going to be so many different ways that you can be involved. Donations, whether it is, physical donation or books that, you're like, hey, my kid loves these books, maybe they could be of value to you, or just straight up, money. But we are not going to limit ourselves. There's no reason to, especially if we want to, grow this place and just truly provide so many different opportunities for your kids. We're not going to limit ourselves. So,
absolutely.
That's my answer.
Honestly, the more funds, you guys know this in life, right? Oftentimes, more opportunities may come from that. Hey, we will do the best that we can, even with limited resources. We are creative. If we need to make our own stuff, if we need to ask parents that we know have special talents to come and help in a certain way, we will do what we can. But when we are blessed with, extra funds that can only pour into their experiences, we will use it for them and for the growth of EverGrow. So that's the only reason we would ever even want to ask and use your money. Rocky, another question?
Are the kids going to be at recess at the same time or different times for different grade levels? correct? That's your question. If you're going to be with all the kids at the same time, all your friends. That's what you want to know. So again, we are planning on having those specific times of the day where it is just everyone. Again, like when she said, when it comes to teaching other people, your skill and what you have learned, that's when you truly mastered something. So we will have times of the day where it is everybody, especially in the morning. So you can totally greet your friends, run up to them, tell them what bugs you caught, over the weekend. So yes, there will be opportunities for all kiddos during PE, recess, all those things.
That's what Christy was wanting me to say.
Okay, I think I see one more question.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Don't be sorry.
Don't be.
What kind of, I hate to use the word like, because that is negative connotation, but like disciplinary actions you take towards children when they're being here?
Okay.
Or like my son.
Again, okay, so what type of disciplinary action will we take? Classroom management is of utmost importance. Our teachers will be expected to be able to run a well-organized classroom, because when there's just too much chaos, and too much disorganization, it's not going to help anyone, the child thrive, nor the teachers. And so we will have classroom management policies in place. If there is a child that is just having a hard time, we also, and Allie is great at this, excellent at problem solving, conflict management, at teaching the kids, empowering the kids to be able to speak up and solve their own little problems that they're going through mentally, emotionally, physically. But that's where also the family interview will really come to place, when you tell us, what the kids' needs are, and or if there's any emotional issues that we should be in the know. And again, if it's the right fit for your child in this academy, then welcome. If we figure that it's not, then again, we'll be transparent and honest with that. Do you want to add anything else to
I do. So something that I want to talk about, especially to the teachers as well, when you are applying, this is just, a little tip. It will give you, a little leg up if you do have a background in child development. What you learn in child development is called conscious parenting. And so it is very important to understand how to speak to a child. And for teachers, I'm not going to hear the word difficult, or they're hard, or they're not doing this because they're this kind of kid. There's always a way to work with a child. They are not difficult, they are different, and there's a way to approach them and speak to them in a way that they understand and that works to their ability and is on their developmental level. And that's what we mean by development. Is what kind of personality they have, what stage are they in, things like that. And so I will not hear the words, they are just being so difficult today. I'm always going to work with or through things with the child. It's never going to give them a label if they're just a hard student and they just don't get it. So for teachers, that's very important to us as well, to be able to handle situations like that. And then that's what needs to be on the kids as well, is that problem solving for those kids, understanding their emotions and working through them.
Okay, and I'm going to read this question because someone just texted to me, and it's not something that I would honestly want to say, but somebody said, you should, to answer the funding question that was just asked, somebody said, you should tell people a number, because who knows if that person has that and wants to give it to you. So I'm going to say this, no, honestly, I'll say this. One of our biggest needs financially to really get this school rolling for September 1st is curriculum. We really need curriculum. We want the materials, the manipulatives, the workbooks, the teacher additions, and curriculum, you guys, is not cheap. If you've ever purchased curriculum, there's some that are there, but honestly, if I were to say for a academy of 100 kids, 8,000 on the low end, 10,000 on the high end for just really solid curriculum materials and all the books, all the workbooks, all that stuff. So in case there is someone out there that's like, I got you, sisters, we're gonna, know that that's where that money's gonna go for all curriculum, and which will also help our parents not have to, purchase extra. We can help with that. Yes.
Do you have a list of supplies or manipulatives or things that you would like to be donated, or would you prefer?
we will have lists like that. So if there are some key manipulatives that were like, maybe you were a former teacher and you have a bunch of counting blocks, or any, where you have like brand new boxes of markers that you will never use, we will use that stuff. So yeah, we will have some lists going out of specific materials.
As a teacher, nothing gets better than having someone come in and donate things to your classroom, whether it's just something that you probably wouldn't even use. It is just such a great feeling to understand that someone knows that you might be in need of something, and also it takes something off of your back. It's something that you don't have to do as a teacher. I had someone donate 26 jars with all these different things that started with that letter of the jar, and it saved me about $100. And as a teacher, that's like $600 actually, because it saves you time, saves you the money, and I mean, it also kind of creates that community sense that we were talking about. And so to have things like that donated, whether it's hand sanitizers, tissue boxes, markers, we will accept it, and it's greatly appreciated. But again, money, donations,
it will all get used. Okay, last couple things, you guys. I want to honor your time. I just have a few more questions. So again, YouTube, in case you maybe missed out or you joined late, anything that you didn't hear us cover, this is going to be on our YouTube channel, and we'll put it a link through our website so you can go back and listen to this, or just email us, info@evergrowacademy.com. Okay, one question here. What's on the elective wheel? We did cover that. There's 5 different electives in the fall and the spring, and that's on the website. So please look at that. It's under our daily schedule. What's the school year schedule? Again, that's on the daily schedule as well. First day of school is after Labor Day, September 6th. What's the age for TK? Great question. So 4, by the time they hit September 1, that's really what TK is here in the States, really in California. So that is our TK age for TK. If you were able to do a 2-day class, what days would they be?
Monday and Thursday.
Monday and Thursday. Here's a quick why. For just a 2-day program, Monday introduces all the key topics of the week. So if we get your child on a Monday, we know that for math, science, language arts, social studies, we're going to give them the big intro of the week with the common key focus lesson, and then you're going to teach the supporting lessons after that. And then on Thursday, they get to come and do all the really exploratory lessons that also have the math and the sciences embedded into it, and the language arts. So we would say the 2-day program will run on a Monday and a Thursday. The 3-day program must be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the 4 Monday through Thursday. Okay, guys, you've been awesome. All right, one quick thing. If you don't mind, Jonathan, just real quick. Now, this isn't for everyone, but you can take a screenshot. Actually, no, this will be up on our website too, the YouTube channel. So these are just your 5 options, really, here in California, how to homeschool. I know some of you are very new and you don't know what these words even mean, or you've never seen this, but I'm just going to quickly go down. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I actually did a whole presentation on this, which some of my friends helped teach at. So if you want that full recording where we go to town on each one, email us, and I have the recording of Zoom, and I will send that to you. It's like you can understand and break down each of these. So the first one is just, you go private. You tell the state, hey, I am homeschooling out of my home. My home is the Rudolph Family Academy, okay, or whatever your last name is. So when you do that, you are going to file a private school affidavit, which you don't have to file until October 1st through the 15th. So before that October date, we will be having a parent workshop in case you're brand new to how do I do that and am I doing this correctly, and we'll get some experts too that have been there, done that, to come help with that process. Number 2, homeschool with a private school satellite program. I've been getting the question, are you guys that? We're not that. We're not a PSP because we're not a private school. Even though this might feel like a private school, we truly aren't, right? I've already told you the reasons why. But here is who is. For example, in Upland, Western Christian, or is that Claremont? It's Claremont. Western Christian is a great example of a PSP. So what a PSP does is you enroll your child through their private school, and they help you with the curriculum. They give you like, hey, this is what our 9th graders do. Here you go. You're going to do the bulk of the teaching at home, but sometimes 1 to 2 days a week, you get to send them to Western Christian, and they take classes there. but then the rest of the week, you're in charge as homeschool mom or dad to conduct the rest of the curriculum. So that's a PSP. And the cool thing about a PSP, especially when you get into the high school, is they do all of that transcripts and attendance and all that for you. Option number 1, you are in charge of that. But again, it's not very heavy work until you get into like sophomore year of high school. So you have time to learn, and it's just a small learning curve. Okay, number 3, homeschool via instruction of a private tutor. You can get a private tutor if you get a California credentialed teacher, and or if the parent has a credential, then they can follow that and they don't necessarily have to report attendance or anything because they're under the instruction of a credentialed teacher. Number 4 is that non-classroom based charter school. That's what we were talking about, getting funds from the charter school. Somebody asked, is it too late to apply? If you are looking at the charter school model, that's how I've been homeschooling my whole homeschool journey thus far. I personally really like it because, again, those funds are so helpful and allow my kids to do all kinds of classes. And I buy all kinds of books and curriculum and stuff. You need to start enrolling now. So you can go to, for example, here in this area, there's Blue Ridge Academy, there's Sage Oak. Carla, who are you with?
Sky Mountain.
Sky Mountain. And some of them might say in registration process is closed, but you might get on a waiting list, so it doesn't hurt to try to enroll. And then the last one is an online school, which has been around for a long time. Private online schools, you can register with them, and then they take your child through whole online learning, or an independent learning through the district. So Goals here in Glendora does that, especially really kicked up into gear with the pandemic. But you tell your district, I still want my kid enrolled in the district, but I'm going to teach them independently, and then they have a whole plan for you to do so, whether it's online and different independent options, where basically you become the at-home teacher. So those are your 5 options here in California. And then the last slide, Jonathan, these are great websites to start, especially if you're just like, okay, I'm going to be new to this homeschool journey. I want to take my kid to EverGrow Academy, but I should probably know what's my responsibilities. I would say start with number 1, HSLDA. Great organization, Homeschool Legal Defense Association, I think. It has all the legalities of how to homeschool correctly, effectively, legally in California, and it's such a great resource. So that's it, you guys. That was like my quick homeschool 101, you know, if you're gonna go down this route. But guys, thank you. Thank you on YouTube, and thank you everyone here for hanging out with us. We are looking forward to hopefully working with you and your children. Keep, emailing us with questions, and we hope to hear from you guys soon. Anything else?
No, we're open for enrollment. We're open for hiring positions. I've already gotten so many of them. But I think that's about it. Our events are up. Our fundraiser is starting, so go ahead and start purchasing your tickets. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, everyone. You guys are great. We'll be around if you want to chat. And if any of you are brand new to homeschooling, come talk to us.
There's other homeschooling.
Yes,
to talk to you.
Thank you.